What's up, fam?
How do
Oh, I sit. My body is shot right now.
I don't know what that means.
Like, are we live? Hello.
The main intention around doing this retreat, I want to go down and share our own intentions, and then maybe collectively, maybe it does intermingle with each other. But if you want to start for us, do you want me to start?
I'd like for you to start.
Okay.
While I collect my thoughts. I know what I'm going to say, but
Good. My intention for the retreat, I've wanted to do this for a very long time, and I just want to essentially how to calm everything down, how to find some stillness and peace in a chaotic world at times. No matter which lifestyle we live, things can get really challenging at times, and I want to guide people of how to go back to their bodies, how to be a kid, how to play, how to breathe, how to connect to themselves. And I don't want to say it's easier, but it can be easier in environments like the retreat, when it's a little bit more free-flowing, calm, like-minded people, nature, for them to open up and receive all that we want to give them. Is to show people, like, we're not here to fix you. We're not here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. We're just here to open up a perspective that they may look at or see within themselves, or we mirror back to them. And just to have fucking fun.
yeah, most
Just
importantly.
like, that's the main thing. Like, yes, we have all these modalities and all these things we're gonna be doing, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
Like, that's an offering.
Yeah.
Like, you could stay inside if you wanted to and do whatever you want to do, whatever's coming up for you. It's an invitation, if you will. But at the basic level, just to relax.
Yeah.
Like, to calm everything down and receive. Because I know sometimes it's hard for me to want to receive things. So that's my main intention, is to, it's simple, but simple doesn't always mean easy. Of when stuff's going a little chaotic in our lives or things are coming up, of how to navigate through that. And to know that there is resources, there are tools that we can use to help navigate that, to help get us through that, instead of just using the mind all day long.
Yeah.
You know, this is very different than this. But collectively, when they can work together, is a beautiful thing. And just to lead by example, without trying to fix them, like I said, just doing our thing. It's gonna be like a compounding effect. Like, not just to have one person, not just to have two people, but three people. And then everyone as a collective consciousness is even more powerful, right? So that's just my intention, is to show people a different perspective they may have never looked at before.
I love that. And I second that. I think that's all great. I think people struggle to find, like, okay, I know what I want, but like, where am I going to do it and how am I going to do it? So again, giving them that space to do it. I also think community is extremely important, and I think there's only so much healing and so much growth that you can do in solitude. So again, giving people this space and this time to come together with like-minded people where it's safe, and you know, we have these things set up for you guys, or like Mike said, you can do whatever you want. I've gone to some workshops that were very healing for me. I had a lot of breakthroughs, and it was because these people came together with their ideas and set a time and a place and an intention, and they created that for me, and I was able to go and meet new people and realize things and have these breakthroughs and stuff. So I know how powerful that workshop was for me. I can only imagine how powerful an entire retreat where we're there for the whole weekend can be for people. So just knowing like the effect that had on me, I can't wait to create that space for other people to come and do whatever it is that they're looking for. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think those safe spaces where you can really realize things, have breakthroughs, cry, laugh, community is huge.
And that's like to run off that, holding space is intricate, but when people feel like, again, we're not trying to fix them, and they feel heard or seen and validated, just who they are, accepting them exactly as they are right now in this moment, that opens up a different container for them to then share other things and have these realizations, these aha moments, when they're not being shamed or told or fixed, or, oh, if I say this, I don't want it to be this way. And that's a space I know that we can hold.
Yeah. I remember in our YTT room, there was a sign on the wall that said, like, this is a safe space. And I remember feeling like I've seen that sign in so many different places and haven't felt that it was true. And I felt that in that room. Like that was an actual safe space. And I think, again, that's just so important to like give to people. And I know that's something that we can create and will be at this retreat, so.
Yeah, because the safe space, well, we can say it all day long.
Right.
Hey, it's a safe space, guys. But unless they feel that for themselves,
Yes.
right, it's not a safe space.
Yes.
And so that's beautiful that you said that, because it's a feeling that you go in and you know
Yeah.
what's coming up in that.
Well, I think that's everything I do, like boiled down to like, what do I actually do? Teaching yoga or meditations or whatever. It's just holding a container. It's holding a safe space for everything you guys said, to like have your own realizations. I don't do anything really more than that. Like I'll guide practices, but really what I'm doing is holding a safe container. And in terms of the retreat, it's like, you know, you mentioned like your external environment changes how you're able to relate to yourself and to others, etc. And to get away from the busyness of life, even not just the things you have to do, but also like the busyness of the city, the traffic, the pollution, all that. Going into nature is like God's safe space, basically.
Amen.
And you know, where we're hosting the retreat is like such a beautiful balance of like modernity with the beautiful space and the building and everything, but then it's out in the wilderness where we get to reconnect to that natural safe space.
That's a good point.
So my intention is basically to hold that safe container while giving people an opportunity to get away from the world, which often feels naturally unsafe.
I love it.
But then, like you mentioned, it's like learning tools to then come back to the crazy world, knowing that that safe space is not necessarily external. It's helpful to connect to it through an external safe space, but to realize it's always like within.
Right. Everything is always pulling us away from our bodies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, they did this. Oh, this work. All these things outside of us. And yes, those may be right for you, but it's really about going back to our bodies and seeing what's coming up for us. Because you can do all the work you want when it's a nice environment, but it's really challenging to do it when the environments aren't so calm and peaceful.
That
right?
is yoga.
You know, it's like when I go home to my family back in Boston, it's chaos. Absolute chaos. But over the years of fine-tuning myself and learning more about myself and yes, modalities and things like that, how can I integrate that back into that chaos of life where I don't attach myself to all the chaos, or I don't get too overwhelmed anymore because I'm just constantly checking in with myself of all the tools that we've learned over the years.
That's amazing. Applied knowledge.
Right, and that's kind of, again, pulling back to the intention of the magic really happens after the retreat. Like it's unfolding there.
Well, we say that about all yoga practices. It's not about the shapes, it's not about the breath work, which are often uncomfortable. Is how do you feel after doing them?
Yeah. You know?
But this is a little bit different than that, because feel safe and comfortable in this beautiful space and in nature to help connect to that, and then again bring it back into the world.
Because without that integration, it's almost like another cycle in itself of that. And so many things are going to come up.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of this. Is
For
to
us
bring
too.
things up. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, what separates this from any other retreat? And I don't even know how to answer that, because I've never really been to that many retreats. I've only heard and hearsay from other people and watched videos and heard about things of the difference between what I've seen and what we're about to go into. Just like you said a minute ago, they say they're safe spaces, but I don't really feel that.
I think that's what first came to my mind. We're not retreat hosts. We're yoga teachers holding a retreat.
Yeah.
Like
Love that.
that to me would be what makes it different. It's not necessarily about a vacation. It's about everything we just talked about. Like, how can I connect to that internal, eternal sense of peace and well-being? Using a vacation-like atmosphere to do that, but that's not necessarily the point.
Yeah.
It's a good byproduct of that.
Yeah.
What came to mind for me is, which is similar, is just like us, you know, our knowledge that we are bringing, our value that we are bringing, just the three of us together that we're bringing, I think is powerful. And it's just going to bring a different energy than any other retreat.
It's almost like I subconsciously have been taking things that I like and don't like and making it my own. and then adding that into a compounding effect of like you doing the same, and then us collectively doing the same together to create something that hasn't been created before. Because we can label it and say, oh, well, people have done this before. You can still have the same thing differently. And I know that that's going to come to fruition because it's already coming to fruition as we speak right now.
I think also just like who I bring to the retreat, who you bring to the retreat, and who you bring to the retreat, and those three groups plus us all together in that house, you know, doing all the things that we have planned. I think that too. You know, usually it's just like one host or like two best friends or something, and they have their one community that they bring. We're bringing three different communities together. Like, you deserve this time to come and do something for yourself and retreat and be with a different community of people and heal or grow or get out of your comfort zone or whatever it is. You deserve that, and you're worthy of this experience. I think a lot of people will count themselves out of something like this for many different reasons. Maybe they're nervous, maybe they're scared, maybe they know it's going to be uncomfortable, just all different types of things. Because when I think back to that workshop that I wanted to go, but I didn't have anybody to go with, was one. And two, because I didn't have anybody to go with and I really didn't know anybody there, part of me, my comfort zone was like, don't do it. You don't know anybody there and you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You're gonna be there for 4 hours. Like, you probably know all the tools that they're gonna do, like, do it at home. And something in me in that last minute was like, buy the ticket and go by yourself. It does not matter that you don't have anybody to go with you. And like I said earlier, this workshop brought so much breakthrough and realizations and community. I met a lot of people that I now am friends with on social media that I can connect with in different ways. And I felt a lot of healing just from those 4 hours, and I'm so happy that I went now that I see it on the other side, you know, but I didn't know that before I went, and I would have never known if I didn't go.
It's kind of like sometimes the things that we want are kind of in the unknown.
Almost always.
Like, you know, taking that leap of faith is what we've been looking for this whole time.
Yeah, I like the community aspect too. I don't know that we've talked a lot about that either. That's a huge part of all of this, is just being in community. Like, we just don't have a lot of that in the modern world, especially with social media, right? It's like the idea that we're more connected than ever, yet we're somehow more disconnected than ever.
Yeah.
Actually connecting in person in a very like intentional way, like not just going through the motions of your day and these are the people that I see. It's like being in a group of like-minded people for an entire weekend. That's very powerful.
Just talking.
Yeah.
Just literally having a conversation can be so healing and just feel so good.
That's
you
what's
know?
changed my life for the most part, is just having those dialogues with people and friends. But it's coming from that safe space again, where I'm not trying to fix these fucking people, right? I'm just literally hearing you talking. People don't have a lot of that. At least that's my projection of who I see in my reality. They don't have that.
Yeah, and when they do, they fix themselves.
Right?
That's what I've found through, you know, teaching different workshops and trainings and, you know, teaching yoga philosophy. Even that is like, you know, you guys have both been in that with me. It's a conversation is the way I do that. Like, it's not about me just blah, blah, this is what it means. It's like, here's what it traditionally means, now reflect. What does it mean to you?
Can you share a little bit about share your resume? No, I'm just kidding. Your background, like the knowledge that you have, like from these past years. Because like, you're not just a yoga teacher, like you know a lot. Like,
Deacon Ye taught us.
Yes.
In yoga teacher training.
This is our teacher.
I guess I'm not just a yoga teacher, I teach teachers. And I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday because I'm currently leading a philosophy course over 8 weeks. And I was like, I have friends who work with people in recovery. I have friends who work with trauma. I have friends who work with more of the physical aspect of it and stuff. And I realized over the years that the students that I'm attracted to and that are attracted to me are the people who are very much making a lifestyle out of the teachings. Like, not so much about this pointed healing or this pointed working with trauma or this pointed, it's like, it's the foundation of life to me. So when I teach teachers or teach people the deeper philosophy, it's not something like life is here and then this is what I'm doing. It's like, no, this is teaching to what life is. I don't know if that answered your question. My experience is I've been teaching teachers, I don't know, pretty much since I became a teacher, I started assisting Laura because Laura was my teacher and also their teacher as well. To be fair, I was an assistant to Laura, though I had a big hand in a lot of her trainings.
How long have you been teaching yoga for?
Since 2018, 6 years.
Do you feel like it's changed drastically, like in those years, like your teachings and?
God, yeah.
So,
It's definitely changed over the years. It probably, from my perspective, it's probably changed more than maybe from the student's perspective. But it's just like anything, you know, you learn any new skill, and I'm definitely like a perfectionist, and I want to master things, and I want to be the best at things. So the first process of that is sucking at it, right? Like, that's the beginning, is just showing up and doing it to the best of your ability. And what I would say over the years is that if I could break it down into one phrase, it's less is more. Like when we first start sharing something, it's like, I want to impart every
Yeah, I feel that.
little bit of knowledge and wisdom that I have acquired throughout my trainings and my practice. And one, the average person isn't ready for that. Two, the time and energy that I've put, you know, I went through over 1,000 hours of trainings. I'm never going to impart that in one 80-minute class, right? But I've had the same students who have been coming to class for years and years now, and I realize over time, now I can up-level them a little bit. Now I can up-level it a little bit more. So what's changed is probably my like patience with the whole process, like less antsy about like, I want them to know and embody everything that I know and embody. It's like, well,
That's how I feel.
I didn't do that immediately, right? Like we repeat things over and over again until they finally land.
I don't know about you, but I ate that philosophy up. I was like, teach me more. That's like all I wanted to talk about. I loved it.
And I think that's because coming full circle in the whole conversation, it's because the way Laura and I teach is to hold that safe space, that container, instead of saying, this is right, this is wrong. And don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of that because a good teacher needs to also impart discipline, but there's a balance. It's not just discipline, it's also you are safe and whole exactly as you are.
And that was one of the things that I took from yoga class is I've done a little work before that, so it was easier to navigate through that. But the teachers, this is just like in high school, you know, I failed math like freshman year and then go to 85 sophomore year with math because of the teacher. You know, the teacher themselves of how they can teach things without force. And we talked about in the car before we got here, a lot of spiritual bypassing, a lot of things that I see in this world or this perspective is still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it seems sticky to me. You know, people have their own prerogatives, people have their own, you know, underlying things of what they want, and I can feel that from them versus just someone just wanting to teach and to hold space for other people to learn through that. I can literally feel that with whoever's in front of me of what their words are, how their frequency is.
Well, it's because their ego is wrapped up in your success, basically, right? So, and I guess that's another thing that's probably changed over the years too, is like, I'm no longer attached to the outcome of my students' practice. I celebrate what occurs and the growth and stuff that happens, but I definitely am no longer wrapped up, my own ego is not wrapped up in what they're doing. And I think that's part of that's how you hold space. I'm not projecting, I want you to show up in a certain way. I'm allowing you to show up however you show up.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Words, man.
Yeah.
Words matter so much to me.
Well, my thought was like, there's a lot of nuance to what you're saying. That what you're speaking about is more like a non-dualism. Like it's not just light; it's the light and the dark mixing together as what we really are.
And keeping things open, right? Never, because this kind of ran off of like definitive things that people have. You know, we're over here and this is over here. And I'm seeing that as people speak. It's slight divisiveness, but I want the juiciness. I want like
You're different. Your brain is different.
What we take and we make our own, what you take and make your own, what you take and make your own, and we make it our own as a collective thing, that's just what I have.
Well, and that's what I was kind of talking about before. Like your students are attracted to you. Like, you know, everything you were just talking about, those are the type of people that you attract that are interested in that, and that more nuanced conversation about themselves and about life and existence.
What else, guys?
This is fear mongering.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
That's what.
Tread cautiously.
Right? Like, these are all clickbait things, and I can get lost into judging someone really fast when I go into that, but it holds a certain vibration that does not attract me.
Yeah, I agree. Because then I'm like, well, I don't.
Well, what's wrong with my life? I'm -2 right now. Is this connected to the...
Well, then it gets used as like an excuse for your shitty behavior too.
Yes.
Like,
The moon is full, so we're going to argue today.
Yeah.
Mercury was in retrograde, so I was an asshole. Okay.
Mercury isn't.
No, it is. And like, here's the thing: it's kind of like what astrology, right?
Yes.
Like, those are tools
Yes.
that can be used. What's what I'm looking for? I'm not too cultured into it to have so much information to like talk shit about. But what I don't like seeing is someone who uses that as a crutch, or it's definitive. Well, if this is this, then, you know, it's going to be a rough next few months.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It actually is going to be a next rough few months because you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Manifesting
creating
what you
that.
want.
Exactly.
So it's just another tool. And I think it's a beautiful tool for people who can use it to find more alignment with their life, you know, and see like what is not in alignment with them based on readings and what's kind of in alignment with them, because we are still the fucking creators of our own life, period, point blank. Right? And like when we can step into that and use all the tools that we have, that's fucking powerful.
Yes. Applied knowledge.
I love
You know?
that. Yeah, all the external tools are useful, but you are the one using the tools, and you get to choose how you use them.
And over the years of seeing all the social media fear mongering and hidden innuendos under to pull people in to whatever they want as a result, right? An expectation. Even those things creep out of me at times. That is not what we're doing. I know I don't want people who feel like they need to do this. They have to do this. God, if I don't show up here, it's like my world's gonna end.
Yeah.
We want people to come because they want to come.
Yes, of course.
That automatically starts off with a offering. People are coming because they want to, not because they have to. And that already opens up the doors for them to receive a little bit different than this moving into a fear-mongered or forced state that now that's going to roll into like everything they try to receive.
Right.
It's like with force.
Like, no, that's what I was saying before. Like, there has to be some kind of structure, some type of discipline to balance the free-flowingness of it all.
Yeah. And it's very intricate. Like, discipline for me has changed over the years. Discipline used to be, if you say you're going to do something, do it, right? If I'm going to work out or do yoga tomorrow at 10 a.m., and 10 a.m. comes and I don't do it, I'm like a piece of shit. I like shame myself and do all these blah, blah, blah. When in reality, yes, and things could come up to meet ourselves where they're at.
Well, it's like you said before, like words. Like you can, even a word as defined as discipline has nuance. Like you can view it in different ways. You know, when you say that, my response is like, okay, well just say structure then, right? If that's your view of discipline as this like military, like, yeah, that's not necessarily healthy either.
Yeah.
But
I see it a lot, right?
Really what matters is balance in all things. And that's what yoga is trying to teach us wholeheartedly, like right from the beginning.
What are our closing notes, guys? Closing notes. We don't really have any closing notes.
We'll see you there.
So if you would like to join a group of people for a weekend under the full moon with amazing people, yes, learning things, but also relaxing and finding stillness and peace, and having amazing home-cooked meals and teachings and play and learn to come back to where we came from, learn to be kids again to some degree, laughter, play, community, union,
Community, you love that.
nourishment, and integration from when we leave the retreat, which is where the magic, in my opinion, really happens, then join us. But join us because you want to join us. This is a calling, this is like an offering to you that's coming up for you, not because we're forcing it out of you, that you have to show up.
I always say that, like whenever I'm feeling it, but I feel called to do this. I feel called to go. Listen to that.
Don't try to analyze it in our minds. I get it. There is a currency here. I get that. We have to pay monetary values to show up here. I understand that. But don't let that be a sole reason to join or not join. It's like, sit with it for a minute. Like, sit with it and see what comes up. And we hope to see you there.
Can't wait.
Yay.
And cut.